Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Saturday Night Sit Down. I'm your host, Tammy Pinnock. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, you are very welcome. And please, if you like my content and you like what I talk about and what you see, please do not forget to hit the like button and please subscribe, because when you subscribe, you will be the first to know whenever I upload a new video. So on today's episode, I want to talk about 4 lessons I have learned through this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, without wasting your time, let's dive right in. Okay, lesson number 1 that I have learned is that there is no job security. Yes, there's no job security, there's no business security. You know, the pandemic started in December and we're in March now. And a lot of businesses has gone under. Businesses can't survive. A lot of people in high-end paying jobs, they've been laid off because the companies can't afford to pay them. And people at home now don't even know how they're going to pay their bills. Some don't even know how they're going to pay their rent. Some has got kids, they don't know. They have no money whatsoever. Because in all their years, they've relied so much on this career, and they haven't put other measures in place in case of emergency or crisis. Now, look at the owner of Virgin Atlantic, Richard Branson. Richard Branson has got a massive company, Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic has got they run Virgin Airlines, they run Virgin Media, they run, I think, Virgin Wine as well, and even Virgin Care. So it's a massive brand. But now they are putting in a request for the UK government to bail them out. Yeah, that's a massive company with millions and millions turnover annually. But right now, they are at the brink of breaking down because they can't survive. And they are asking the UK government to help them with what? With the taxpayers' money. Now, and also, like I said, with people in high-end job, people that are self-employed, the pandemic has just brought chaos on planet Earth. People are struggling financially. People can't meet up with their bills. And it's only 3 months. So you can imagine if this pandemic goes on for the next 6 months, God forbid, but just imagine if it goes on for the next 6 months or the next 1 year, what will happen to people? What would happen? And I'm talking about this side of the world where I am. The government would actually, step in to help with rent and bills here and there. They help and they pay you. They give you weekly money to help with feeding and all that. But let's look back. Let's go to Africa. Now, most African countries as well as implemented lockdowns without no measures put in place to help the citizens. And majority of Africans are self-employed. They have their little businesses that they're running here and there. And because of the lockdown now, people are at home with nothing. The prices of everything is rocket high. The prices of the foods they've tripled. So people are home, people's got no money, people has got nothing. So think about it. If it goes on for another 3, 4, 5, 6 months, what would happen to people in Africa? And why is it like this? It's because we don't really know how to manage and how to save. So that takes me now to the next lesson, which is number 2 that I have learned from this whole COVID-19 pandemic. And what is that? It is money management. You have got to be knowledgeable on how to manage your finances. People live for the day. People in this part of the world where I am, people tend to save because they teach them right from a young age. You see parents right from a young age, they buy their children a piggy bank and they encourage them to save money. And at the end of the year, they get something from their piggy bank and get something special for them, and they start again in the next year. And also, you see, people here, they know how to save because, like I said, they teach them right from a young age. So they save, and that's why they're able to go on 2-3 holidays in a year, because they save and they've planned ahead for those holidays. But when it comes to when we take it to Africa, they don't know how to save. Africans don't know how to save. And this is because our parents and our grandparents, you know, and the people before us never saved. And so they didn't know how to save. So they exactly the way they spend, that was how they passed it to the children and the generation after. Africans tend to live one day at a time. An African man can earn ₦1 million today, and within a week that ₦1 million is gone. And they wait for the next pay, and they wait for the next pay. So they live for the day, which is a disastrous way to live. Because like I said, now everybody is on lockdown. I'm sure 90% or even more of African people, actually in Nigeria, do not have savings. And so the whole country is in chaos. So we've got to learn how to manage our finances. So you have to plan. And how can you manage your finances? You have to have a plan in place. So when your money comes in, you know how much you're expecting. For those that are on regular salary, you know how much comes in. Try to do a budget. So before your money comes, you have a plan of what is coming and what is going out. That way you can know, okay, what is left. We can invest or we can save. And also you can know, okay, where can we cut back? When you write things out, it gives you a broad idea of where you are overspending and where you can cut back on things. So for me, the way I manage my money, and listen, before I was in the same situation. I live for the day. I work. As soon as my money comes, my money goes. As soon as my money comes, my money goes. And we start again. It's like living the rat race. At the end of the month, we get paid. Within a week or maximum 2 weeks, the money is all gone. You pay this, you pay this. I don't even think. I go out, I shop, I buy this. There's no day I go out before. I always go out every day, almost, or maybe 4 or 5 times a week to the high street. And I just go into shops and I just buy, you know, impulsive buying. I just buy what I see and what I like. Even when I don't like it, if it's on sales, I just buy it. And so I had no savings. And I was struggling financially because at the end of the month, I get paid. Within 2 weeks, the money is all gone. And then I start working again, or, you know, end of the month, same thing. So it's like a rat race. And I know majority of us, that's the way we live. We live by the day. And it's not a good way to live. Because when something like this happened, who would have thought that a massive crisis would happen like this worldwide, that is affecting every single person? So it is very important to learn how to manage your money. For me, what I do now, and how you might ask, how can you learn how to manage your money? Because most people really don't know. Now, there's a good book that I would recommend. I have read that book myself. I read that book maybe about 3 years ago. A pastor friend of mine spoke to me about the book about a long time, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Spoke to me about this book when I was complaining about finances. I work hard and I still don't see my money. I still can't, you know, I still don't see my money. My money comes and my money goes. So he recommended that book for me to read. I actually went ahead and I bought the book, read the book. And when I read the book, I was like, this is really good. But did I implement it? No, I didn't. It was only about like 2 years ago that I went back to that book. You know, when I've had enough of it all, I decided to, let me go back to that book. I went back to that book, read it in depth, and I actually started implementing the things in that book. That is the best money management book that you can have. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. I don't know if you can see it. Let's do it that way. Can you see? Is that better? No, yeah, there we go. The Richest Man in Babylon. Now there's a free ebook on this on YouTube that you can download and listen to on the go if you are one of those that is always on the go in the car. You can listen to it. You can listen to it on your phone with your headset on. It is worth reading, trust me. If you read this book and you implement what's inside this book, trust me, you will never lack and you will never borrow from nobody. Because it tells you how to save, and that takes me to my third lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, like I said earlier, there's no security for jobs, there's no security for business. So how can you secure yourself and your family in times like this? You know, in times of crisis, you know, that comes up without no warning. It's savings. Savings is very, very important. You have to learn how to save. And you might say, okay, how do I save? Now, I was saying before, you know, money management. So what I started doing after I really read the book in depth and I started implementing the book, what I do, before the month end, before I get paid, I write out my budget for that month. Because when I get paid, let's say I get paid at the end of January, that salary will cover me from January to the end of February when I get paid the next salary. So what I do before the end of the month, before I get paid, I write out my budget for that month. Every single thing that I want to spend, I write it down. And another thing that I do, I pay myself as well. So I pay myself as my own personal salary 10% of what I earn. And that my salary is for me to take care of myself. So that goes for my hair, my eyebrows, my makeup. If I want to wax my leg, it's in there. If I want to buy something, it's in there. And once that salary that I've paid myself finishes, that's it. Any other thing that I need for that month would have to wait till I put that in another budget. That is the way I started managing. So what I do, I write my list just like that. I don't know if you can see it. So I write to-do list for, this one is February, to-do list for February. So I make a to-do list for the month. I write all my bills out, my rent, my whatever, my car, petrol, feeding, you name it. I write everything out. So I have a clear picture of what I need to pay. And also, before I do that, which you will get from that book as well, once I get paid, the first thing I do, like I said, I pay myself 10% of my earnings. And then I also take 10% of my earnings and I put it straight into my savings. Yeah, straight into my savings. And whatever that is left, so I pay 10% for myself, 10% for my savings, and I pay 10% for my tithes and my offerings, and I have 70% left. And my 70% left is where I pay my bills from. And then whatever that is left, if I want to send money to my families back home, I send money to my families. If somebody that is in need or somebody is having a birthday party, I can buy a gift from there. But every money I spend is accountable for. I don't just spend without planning. If I'm going to send money home to somebody, I'll tell, okay, maybe somebody calls me and said, please, we're struggling, we need help. If I'm going to send money, I can tell them, okay, I will give you the money at the end of the month or 2 weeks time. That money that I've promised that person would go into my monthly budget. So I can account for everything that I spend. And that is how I've been doing it for the past 2 years or more. So a couple that I followed, their channel is called Is and Has Money. These are two great people. If you want to learn more, I put this, I'm not a financial advisor. I just learn from the experts. Those are my mentors and they are the experts and I learn from them. And Is and Has Money. So if you want to learn more about how to save, you can, go on YouTube and watch their videos and follow them. You would learn a lot from those people. And yeah, so learn how to save, because ideally you're supposed to have 3 months worth of your monthly salary in your savings. That's to start with. So let's say, for example, you're earning £2,000. You should be able to put away 3 months salary in your savings. So that means you have £6,000 in your savings. So for rainy days and when the real emergency like what we're going through now comes up, you will be able to scale through for the next 3 months with the hope, without you, worrying about, oh God, I'm going to survive. Or if you get laid off your job, unexpectedly, you have money for 3 months. That 3 months money will be enough. You will have more time to look for other job and look for other things to do, rather than you now stressing about, how do I pay my rent? How do I pay my children's school fees? How do I fill the car? Before you know it, you're going to have high blood pressure, because you don't plan and you don't save. So savings is very, very, very important. So for those of you that are from Africa and you don't know how to save money, please, 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 I recommend you to go read that book. If you can't get a hard copy, like I said, there is a free ebook on YouTube. Get that book and read it and start implementing it. And now some of you might say, you know what, it's easy to say, oh, you need to save. My monthly income, my monthly outgoing is even more than my income. There is a way around things like that. So let's assume that your monthly, you're in the UK, and it applies to everybody. Let's assume your monthly outgoing is more than your monthly income. What can you do? Now, for example, you can ring up, let's say, for example, your credit card bill for the month. Maybe you pay all your credit card bill, you pay 100 or 150 pounds. What you can do, you can call those companies and say, listen, I'm struggling financially at the moment. I still want to pay my bills. I don't want to, I don't want to stop paying my bills. Can we come to a certain arrangement? Can you reduce my payment? Instead of me paying 100, can I pay 80? Can I pay 70? And trust me, most of the companies will come to a deal with you to pay a reduced amount, because they rather take a reduced amount than having nothing at all. So you can knock your bills, all your bills, you can knock them down, and that way it leaves room for savings. So those extra money that you would have used to pay, let's say you're supposed to pay £100 for your credit card and you were able to knock it down to 50. That extra £50 can now go into savings. So there are ways you can manage it. Okay, it is very important. And now that takes us to the 4th lesson that I've learned through this whole COVID-19 pandemic. And it's passive streams of income. You can never, there's an old adage in Africa that says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And now when I look back at it, it is right. It is right. You cannot rely on one stream of income. Something can happen from nowhere, like what we are going through now, and that stream of income just stops automatically. What then do you do? So that means that we have to have a passive streams of income. And what is a passive stream of income? A passive stream of income is an investment that brings you money daily or monthly without you having to be present to earn it. So examples of passive incomes are real estate investment. Real estate investment, business investment, investment in stock and shares. Those are things that you don't have to be there, but you get money back from them either on a daily basis or on a monthly basis. And it might not be a massive money that is coming, but something is coming regularly without it affecting you. So you don't have to be, you can be doing your job, your regular job, and something else is still coming, from other investments. That's what we call passive income. So think about it. So as you are putting money away for savings, don't bother putting your money in savings and just leave it there for the bank to be making profit off it. When you look at it at the end of the year, the interest that goes into your savings is crap, really. It's nothing. So when you put that money into the savings, after a while, invest it into something that will bring, like I said, when you read that book, it tells you how to make your money work for you. This book is a lifesaver. It teaches you how to make your money work for you, how to make your money will give birth to more children, and those children will give birth to more children, and money will just start streaming in. So invest wisely. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you what to invest on. But what I would say is that before you invest into anything, before you invest your hard-earned money into anything, make a great research about what you're about to go into. Make sure you are comfortable with it before investing. So you can invest in all those things. And, you know, like in Africa, like I said, you can invest in, you can build a house and rent it out to people, and you'll be getting monthly returns on that. You can have a hall where people can rent for weddings and their parties, and you will have weekly returns on those. So there are lots and lots of investment that you can do that will bring in you multiple streams of income. So when something like this happens, you have enough money that can carry you for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year, and hopefully whatever that has happened, like this COVID-19 pandemic, would have come and gone, and you'll be fine. Okay? Don't wait for something like this to happen for you to realize that, oh no, I've been a fool. I've got no investment now. I can't even pay my children's school fees now. I can't even feed my children. You will look like the worst dad or the worst parent on earth. So, well, those are the lessons that I personally have learned from this whole experience, and I thought it will be the wise thing to do to share it with my fans and my viewers. So, guys, very important, get that book, download it, and start reading. And not just reading, implement it. Get going, start reading the book, and start implementing it. Okay? And I hope that you will be that this video has been beneficial to you, that you've learned a lesson or two from it. If you like what I've said, please give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe so you'll be the first to get a notification whenever I upload a new video. Okay, guys, that's it from me today. Looking forward to seeing you next week, Saturday, for another edition of Saturday Night Sit Down. And I remain your host, Tammy Pinnock. Bye now.